Welcome back to Top Cut, semi-final round of our final league challenge of the season here at Psycho Turtle in Pico Rivera, California. I am Dennis Geisler. It is just me and this perfectly normal chair, and we are about to get into the semi-final. Game one of the semifinals. Aaron Brok and Shane Gaffney, two absolutely fantastic players in the region. We've seen Aaron's team earlier. We did not actually see Shane's. Aaron is running the Calyrex Shadow Rider, the Zamazenta, Chen Pao, Tinglu, Amoonguss, and Raging Bolt. Shane on the other end, Calyrex Ice Rider, Miraidon, Grimmsnarl, Urshifu Rapid Strike, Incineroar, and Landorus Incarnate. And yeah, we did not see Shane's team earlier. We saw a very similar team. We saw a team with the Ice Rider and the Miraidon. But, and the Grimmsnarl for that matter, but a little bit different stuff around the edges, and curious to see how this matchup ends up going. It's obviously a little bit awkward for the Calyrex sometimes, and I think this is a worse matchup for the Tinglu than the previous one, but or the previous one that we saw at least, but I don't really know. I don't really know what the choice is, what the play is for either of these two players. And also, it's not as clear of a Trick Room team for Shane's side than previously. It's not as clear as a Trick Room team on Shane's side. Obviously, the Calyrex would benefit from the Trick Room, the Ice Rider, that is. But that's it, and it has the Trick Room for itself, and there's other stuff that wouldn't hate the Trick Room being around, and it depends on the speed of the game that's going, but in a lot of cases you can kind of just sit with no Trick Room and just keep hitting things. We're going to get under it here. The winner here plays Jason Tang, who has qualified for finals due to a forfeit. Shane Gaffney is going to lead the Calyrex Ice Rider and the Incineroar against the Chen Pao and the Zamazenta. Both those Pokemon are going to get their attack dropped with that Intimidate. Remember, this is the Life Orb Chen Pao, so it'll take a bit more damage, although we'll see this Calyrex as we come to it. This Incineroar, meanwhile, is honestly threatening some of the most damage on the field right now, if we're being honest. Body Press will obviously hit it pretty hard. It is the Assault Vest, so it's a bit bulkier, at least on the special side, in exchange for not having the Parting Shot. It does have the Turn instead, as you'd probably imagine. But it's threatening some of the most damage on the field right now, just by being Incineroar, and with what everything else is here. Question of what they want to go for. Shane will just switch out the Calyrex, which makes some sense. Comes in with a Miraidon. Be weak to the Ice Spinner and Ice Shard, of course. Incineroar will just fake out the Zamazenta, so it'll be mostly a scouting turn. It is the Ice Spinner, which will take away the terrain, which is kind of unfortunate for Shane. That Miraidon is no longer going to have the terrain. Goes the electricity from the battlefield. Zamazenta won't do anything. The Miraidon's much weaker now. Probably just want to Volt Switch out of there, but I don't know if we'll get the opportunity, especially with Chen Pao always being so danged fast. Miraidon not usually taking that kind of speed stat. This is the Specs Miraidon, so you don't have a Protect or anything. The Incineroar's already been chunked. It'd get a little awkward for Shane pretty quickly. Shane might have to swap right back out again, which could feel pretty bad. Ooh, we'll actually switch out the Incineroar. Leaves the Miraidon in. It is the Calyrex coming in on that Incineroar slot, actually. The Ice Rider back in there. And I believe that is going to be Shane's Terra. It would make the most sense if that was Shane's Terra. Yep, on the Miraidon, it's Terra Fairy. Should no longer drop to Ice Spinner. That'll mean it's at least able to get an attack. There is that Ice Spinner, as mentioned. Ooh, not even half. And obviously, Chen Pao will take the Life Orb chip, and the Volt Switch out. We'll see if it KOs Chen Pao. Yeah, it actually does. I was going to say, Specs, Miraidon, probably modest. Probably going to KO Chen Pao from that range with the Volt Switch, even without the Hadron Engine. That means, plausibly... Oh no, it's not going to be Incineroar, it's going to be Landorus. That Life Orb Sheer Force Landorus. And the Body Press, going to do a little of the Calyrex, not a whole lot. And the Calyrex is Leftovers. So, see it chomp, 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 a little bit of HP back. And it's going to be the other horse on the other side. The Calyrex Shadow Rider. Everybody's too nervous to eat berries now. And the question here, what does Landorus, what does Landorus do here in general, and can Calyrex get through this turn? I mean, it's going to be awkward. It's going to be kind of awkward regardless, because Shane has lost the Terra. The Terra's going to get burned now. I think that's going to be the Zamazenta. Yeah, it sure is. The Zamazenta to Terra Water, it makes it worse against... It makes it better against what's on the field right now. It makes it worse against that Miraidon in the back, but if you can win the game before Miraidon comes back out, be helped by getting an Astral Barrage here. It is Sash, so it's not going to be as much damage. It'll take out Calyrex. Landorus will take the hit, but will Landorus take another hit, is the big question. And Grimnay gets one stack. If Landorus can at least get a hit down on a Calyrex, it'll be big, but it will not. Body Press, not very effective hit, still going to take out the Landorus, and now that is 2 KOs in one turn for Aaron. And Shane does still have the 2 Pokemon remaining, has the mostly full HP Incineroar, and the pretty, still in the green Miraidon. The problem is that Calyrex, who, nothing really stopping it from just clicking Astral Barrage, and I would imagine that'll KO the Miraidon at +1. Or could even Protect just to get out of the turn. Or Double Protect to scout the Choice Specs lock. Which is, of course, a pretty nice feeling. I would imagine it's probably Electro Drift, but we'll see. Definitely the best against the stuff already seen, and I don't know, you gotta click something. There's the Double Protect. It's the Dazzling Gleam, which is a little bit dangerous with the wide guard there. Means that all Aaron needs to do is take out Incineroar with something remaining, with something else remaining, and then you can wide guard out the rest of the game. But I don't even know if that'll be necessary, because I think both these Pokemon outspeed both of Shane's Pokemon. Excuse me, both of Shane's Pokemon and Astral Body Press should do it. Ooh, Disable actually onto the Miraidon for a little bit of flexing. So Miraidon, yeah, doesn't get the Dazzling Gleam, and Zamazenta Body Presses the Incineroar, gets it out of the way, and that disabled Calyrex tech coming in handy there, as it, gonna finish this one out. Miraidon locked. In just a minute, we will see. Shane probably just thinking about, okay, how'd that game go? What do I do for this next set, or the next game? Because that went pretty overwhelmingly Aaron's way. Yep, there's the KO. Game number 1, Aaron Brok taking it. And yeah, I think it definitely showed the power of this duo. I mean, obviously, we talked about it a bunch. Calyrex Shadow Rider, Zamazenta felt like it was going to be the natural team going into Milwaukee, and ended up not really performing up to expectations there. But it's still a very good team, and I still think at Utrecht, I think it was like the 3rd most popular restricted duo, which doesn't mean a whole lot. There aren't a whole lot of restricted duos out there, but... Okay. Or rather, there are a lot of restricted duos, so 10% is not a huge number. But still, these two definitely get a lot of work done in combination. And it was basically all that Aaron needed that entire set, so... Curious how Shane wants to adapt here. Probably you have to get rid of... get rid of the Calyrex quicker. Especially getting hits down onto it faster earlier in battles, because it has the Focus Sash, and if it's able to get a Grimnay boost, it's going to get back the damage that it lost by having to go Focus Sash instead of, like, Life Orb. Most of them are Focus Sash at this point, but some are still Life Orb with some kind of defensive Terra. And you lose a bit of damage, like a noteworthy amount of damage, by just going Focus Sash. But if you go Focus Sash and then you get a KO, you're kind of back in the money. And Shane didn't really have an answer to it after allowing that, and so Shane really has to kind of play around that backwards, where it's like, okay, how do I stop it from getting a KO? How do I stop it from getting on the field in the spot to get a KO? And let's see how Grimmsnarl does at doing it. So Grimmsnarl, obviously great Pokemon, has the dual screens, has the Thunder Wave as an option, Spirit Break to do pretty good damage against both these Pokemon, doesn't have the special attack drop, but that can matter against Calyrex later on in the battle if Grimmsnarl sticks around. Reflect makes sense. You lower the damage that you're taking from physical moves back to about where Sword of Ruin actually set it. So it's basically neutral. Chien-Pao loses some HP there. Zamazenta Body Press follow-up actually just gets the KO, so Grimmsnarl comes out, reflects, and leaves. And the Leech Seed put down onto the Zamazenta. This is a nice little trap here for Zamazenta, because if it switches out, it gets rid of the Leech Seed, but it loses its +1 defense, which kind of makes it a little bit useless. Not completely useless, but makes it quite a bit worse. And yeah, Miraidon's going to come out here, which I think makes sense as the choice. You're going to have to Terra your Miraidon probably in this matchup, and you probably have to do it now. Chien-Pao can Ice Spinner, or can even just Protect, but I think regardless, it's going to drop to Miraidon right about now. And the idea for Aaron might just be, yeah, get as much damage down as you can, but the big thing is that Calyrex is lingering on the field, taking HP out of that Zamazenta. See how this goes. Miraidon just goes right back out of there, which is a fascinating choice. I think it's Urshifu actually coming in here. Urshifu should take everything heading its way. At least it'll take it. Ice Spinner, not much damage at all. And Chien-Pao takes the recoil. And obviously the terrain disappears with the Ice Spinner. Body Press on top of that, and it does not take out the Urshifu. And Calyrex gets the Trick Room off. Now both these Pokemon will move faster on Shane's side, including the Miraidon as well. Will move faster than either of these Pokemon on Aaron's team. And so now Shane just has to manage the field at this point. The big problem, I guess, at this point is that Chien-Pao is still Chien-Pao. Like, you still have to be a little bit worried about it. It has the ability to Sucker Punch at the Urshifu, which is banded. And so that'll be a little bit difficult, potentially. But Shane does have priority this turn of just all your guys get to move first. We'll see how it goes here. Let's see the Terra on Aaron's side. It's going to be that Zamazenta again. I think it was the Zamazenta in Game 1. Definitely is the Zamazenta now. And Chien-Pao with a Sucker Punch into something, and it didn't connect. Oh, it was a Leech Seed from Calyrex. Ooh, boy. Got Aaron caught up there, and a U-turn from Urshifu into the Zamazenta, actually. Fascinating little choice. It'll get the Miraidon on the field. With an opportunity to keep the terrain up, which is nice as well. Just have to get rid of the Chien-Pao at this point. Now the Leech Seeds from both of these two, going back to the Calyrex, although that wasn't the Leech Seed, that wasn't the guy, that was the Zamazenta there, and now a little bit more of an awkward choice to make for Shane, where you have to decide, okay, can I click Glacial Lance? But at this point I feel like you figured out that Glacial Lance has to be that last move, because Glacial Lance pick up either of these KOs? And if it doesn't, like, can you risk Dazzling Gleam Glacial Lance against a side that has Wide Guard active right now? And I'm not really sure. I'm honestly not 100% sure. Shane will swap out the Calyrex, actually, and we'll bring in the Urshifu, so Urshifu will get a lot of passive healing now after this turn from both of these two. The Terra for Shane's side, it's got to be the Miraidon. Terra Fairy, second game in a row, which makes sense. My big worry for Shane is it's moving in a lot of the same direction as game number 1 did, which is obviously a pretty decisive win for Aaron. Ice Shard into Miraidon, not anywhere close to enough to KO. Volt Switch here? Yeah, Volt Switch into the Chen Pao will be pretty good at just getting the Chen Pao out of the way. And so with the Electric Terrain still up, Calyrex will switch back in with basically full HP. I think totally full HP. And Urshifu will get a little bit of healing back off of the Leech Seed here. It's a nice little chunk, honestly. Amoonguss will come out here, so not something we saw in game number 1, but here's the thing. Amoonguss can't click its big scary Spore in Trick Room because it is not allowed. It's not allowed right now. But the problem on the other end of that is that Wide Guard is able to block Glacial Lance from hitting the Amoonguss, so it can linger and Pollen Puff and heal and do all that nonsense pretty conveniently at this point. Zamazenta will Wide Guard, which makes sense. You block the Glacial Lance. Pollen Puff from Amoonguss. I mean, it's not making any progress from Aaron's side, but it is building back up the HP bar, and man, that is a lot of HP. That is a lot of HP that was dragged back onto that Pokemon. And we'll see now what the Urshifu decides to go for. It's locked into whatever it goes for here, and it's the close combat, which makes a lot of sense. It'll do pretty good damage to the Zamazenta. And will obviously heal just a bit back. I mean, it basically is back at the same HP as it started the turn with, so kind of nothing happened. So we'll see if either of these players decides to do basically the same thing again. At this point, I mean, we're still waiting on Trick Room turns to a degree, but with the one side having the 2 and 3 fastest, the second and third fastest, I guess, is the way that makes more sense to say it. Yeah, Amoonguss is going to Pollen Puff again, which is so brutal, but no Wide Guard this time. Calyrex with a Leech Seed into the Amoonguss slot, predicting a switch maybe, but that is unfortunate. The close combat, not really doing enough damage there. Of course, it'll sap a little bit of HP back, but the Calyrex going to take a Body Press. Yeah, that was tough. Must have been predicting a switch in there on that slot out of the Amoonguss, but, or at least not a Wide Guard. Or at least predicting a Wide Guard alternatively, but kind of a weird choice, and that'll leave one turn of Electric Terrain left also, which is a problem for Shane, because as soon as that Electric Terrain... Well, actually, Trick Room has already ended. Yeah, Trick Room is done. Not a lot of Reflect left. Aaron is definitely stalling out a little bit of this, but now Zamazenta's the fastest thing on the field, but Urshifu and Calyrex go next. So Amoonguss goes last. So Amoonguss will not be able to heal up Zamazenta before it's able to get close combated here. So Amoonguss might have to Rage Powder to get Zamazenta to get to do anything, and obviously the Glacial Lance will be an option. So Amoonguss is going to protect, actually. Should leave an opportunity to get rid of the Zamazenta here. It's going to Body Press the Calyrex for good damage, not great damage. Close combat, if it doesn't pick up, yeah, the Leech Seed will pick up the KO there for Urshifu, so that's not a problem for Shane. And Calyrex going for the Leech Seed again, not particularly necessary, but not worthless, I guess. The problem is just that now we have a Amoonguss and Calyrex Shadow Rider presumably hitting the field. Urshifu can't do anything to Calyrex. Well, yeah, the problem is just that Astral Barrage probably KOs Calyrex Ice Rider, Shane's Calyrex, from this range. And if it does, then Shane just kind of gets to play this pretty linearly, or Aaron gets to play this pretty linearly. It'll come down to Calyrex, I think. It'll come down to Calyrex and Calyrex, shockingly. Every restricted format since Gen 8. It'll come down to Calyrex. One turn of Reflect left, that's not going to mean a whole lot. Spore will be blocked if Miraidon switches in. It'll also take all of those drops back from Urshifu. But the big thing is, Astral Barrage might not care. Calyrex Shadow Rider, fastest thing on the field, has Astral Barrage available, but just KO everything right now. We'll see if it does. If it does, it'll send Aaron to the finals. And Egg Thing is super effective against that Calyrex. And yeah, Urshifu's going to switch out into the Miraidon. It makes sense as a choice. Problem is just that if Calyrex can't take the hit, it doesn't matter, because then you won't have enough damage against Amoonguss. You won't have enough damage against Amoonguss while also having damage against Calyrex. Here it comes. Astral Barrage, not boosted. Calyrex taken down, Miraidon taken down, and that should be it. Shadow Rider will get the double boost. It will be faster. It will have Sash. Not that Urshifu can do anything about it regardless, as Urshifu's just slower. Hit that band. And so we will see the Urshifu come on in and get taken down by the Calyrex, and then that will be it. Eventually. In just a moment. There we go. Battle's canceled. Aaron Brok will head to the finals. He will play Jason Tang for our League Challenge final title. It's the final League Challenge title here of the season. Definitely a fun battle there, and Aaron just held control of it the entire time. The Calyrex Ice Rider Miraidon setup is interesting, but I do struggle a little bit with the Leech Seed Calyrex in that setting, just because you kind of lack damage in a lot of cases, like especially if there's a wide guard there. This kind of ends up a little awkward. We're going to take a very quick break, and we'll be back with the finals. Don't go anywhere.